getting to a baseball game a little early has its benefits. Not only can you get some autographs, maybe you take the picture of your favorite Phillies player, or maybe if you're nice enough, you might get a baseball from your favorite Phillies player. Tonight it's Game 2 of a 4-game series between the Phils and the St. Louis Cardinals. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, joined by Ben Davis. We'll hear from Greg Murphy in just a little bit. Tonight, we are going to celebrate the country of Panama. That's right. Severino Gonzalez will make his major league debut, the 22-year-old from Panama. And behind the plate again will be Carlos Ruiz, who swung a hot bat last night, and he's finally got his average up over 200.
It was great to see. It really was. You could see the big smile on his face last night when Murph interviewed him after the game. He puts a lot of effort into his defense. We know that. We know the pride that he has in handling the pitching staff. But at some point, Chooch has to hit, and he was very frustrated, and he made the adjustments and got back, last night at least, to where he needs to be. He shortened his swing up, used the whole field, and really tried not to do as much. He stayed within himself, and he got the results.
And you see this breaking ball that he pulls down the left field line. That capped off a 4-for-4 night. That was the double by Carlos Ruiz. It was his first extra base hit of the season. So now, over the last 3 games, 6 hits, it almost duplicated the number of hits from the first 11 games.
Yeah, 4-for-4 will do that in one night, and he raised his average dramatically. But the thing with Chooch is he has to just be consistent and not try and do so much. We know this team has some offensive woes. Maybe he put upon himself, you know what, I have to carry that load a little bit, try to do too much. But the swing I saw last night can take him a long way.
Tonight, he's also going to be a mentor for another Panamanian native. It's Severino Gonzalez making his major league debut here in St. Louis.
Something that he will remember forever. This is a big thrill for this kid, pitching in Busch Stadium against a great lineup that the Cardinals have. But we'll take a look here and see Severino Gonzalez has very good off-speed pitches, very good breaking balls, a 3-pitch pitcher, very good changeup, but he knows how to pitch. Despite his age and his youth, he knows how to go out there and compete and throw strikes.
Phillies people say that the cutter is a big league cutter. That's the pitch that will get big league hitters out.
Well, the cutter's a pitch that has come a long way over the last decade or so, and you know, it's a pitch that a lot of pitchers try and throw. They don't have success, but he seems to have success with it.
He's trying to emulate another guy from his home country, Mariano Rivera, with that cutter. Again, he makes his major league debut tonight against the St. Louis Cardinals. Obviously, he's excited. Obviously, his teammates are excited. Cameron Rupp is a guy that knows Severino Gonzalez, and he had a chance to sit down with Greg Murphy.
All right, thank you very much, guys. Well, here with Cameron Rupp, catcher for the Fightin' Phils. And, you know, we asked to talk to you today because you have an interesting perspective on a guy making his major league debut tonight, in Severino Gonzalez. You got a chance to catch him in spring training. First of all, what were your initial impressions when you were getting a chance to catch him?
My initial thoughts were, man, this guy's going to be good. You know, it's his first time being in a kind of a big league atmosphere, and he came out and he shoved. He came out there like he'd done it for 5 years, and I thought that was really neat.
Tell the folks what they can expect. You know, what kind of pitcher is he? I know he's not an overpowering kind of guy, but he's a guy that seems to have a couple different pitches that work for him.
Yeah, he's got you know, your typical 3-4 pitch guy, and he comes right after hitters. He's not afraid to use both sides of the plate, and he can throw his changeup at any point in time, and that's probably right after his fastball. That's his best pitch. So you know, he's going to challenge hitters. He's going to throw strikes. You know, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of nerves flowing, and so it'll be fun to watch, though.
Well, I was just about to ask you about that human side of it, because for all of you guys, I mean, everybody in that clubhouse has talent and has the ability to play at this level, but there's the next thing that has to happen. So you're a young guy yourself. You've got a lot of young guys on this team. How can you guys help a 22-year-old like him get over the hump in terms of the mental aspect of the game?
Stay behind him. You know, you're always supporting him. Make sure he's got confidence when he goes out there, and seeing him pitch before and when he did in Orlando, I think he'll be okay.
You and I were just talking about the interesting connection between him and Carlos Ruiz, who's going to catch him tonight, the Panamanian connection. I guess at some level, that's got to give him a little bit of comfort as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how long he's known Chooch, and there's an age barrier there, but...
Calling Chooch old?
No. No, not... In this game, unfortunately, you have to kind of say yes, but in real life, no, not at all.
But it probably will help him out a little bit in terms of being comfortable with the guy that's calling the shots tonight.
Absolutely. And Chooch, a veteran guy, has been around 10 years in the big leagues, and I think that makes anybody comfortable. It doesn't matter if Cole's pitching or if you got a rookie throwing like you did tonight. I think that makes a huge difference.
Let's talk about you a little bit, because you're settling into your first full major league season on a 25-man roster, and you came off a spring that was really terrific, where you went out and won the job that was out there. How are you feeling in terms of your comfort level on the big league club?
I'm very comfortable. The results aren't showing right now, and that's part of it. I'm catching every day for so many years down in the minor leagues, and then getting your day here and there. It's tough to adapt to, but I'm learning, and talking to Chooch day in, day out, learning different things in terms of what goes on during the game. And so I'm just kind of taking it all in right now and enjoying every bit of it.
Well, that's what you got to do, Cam. We appreciate your time, certainly. Thanks for the scouting report on Severino as well. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the booth.
Thank you, Murph. Thank you, Cameron, for that throwback. We appreciate it. Severino Gonzalez making his fourth start of the season overall, 3 down in AAA. Michael Wacha, for the first time, facing the Philadelphia Phillies. He's had a good start to the 2015 season. Well, last night the bullpen really came through in relief of Cole Hamels. First Ken Giles, and then Jonathan Papelbon, who came out of the 9th inning to close the door for another save. When we return, we'll go back to the Comcast Sportsnet studios. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider. Photos before the start of tonight's ball game. Phils won last night's ball game and now looking for their third consecutive victory. We have a tough customer on the mound for the St. Louis Cardinals, and Michael Wacha, just 23 years old. And Murph, somehow the Cardinals are able to find some of these young pitchers that could be absolutely dominant at times.
They do seem to find their fair share for sure, Tom. 6'6", 23-year-old. He is imposing out on the mound, and ever since he got to the big leagues, he has certainly been impressing folks, and he has been unbelievably impressive so far this season. This is his last start against the Washington Nationals down there in Washington, a game where he went 7 innings. He allowed just 5 hits, 1 earned run. He threw 95 pitches, had 6 strikeouts, even played a little defense as well. He has been very, very good this year, both on the road and at home. In fact, in his 3 starts, he's allowed 1 earned run in each of those 3 starts. That's pretty good. Now, in his career, much better at home. You take a look at the numbers, 8-1 record at home with an ERA of 2.24, a little bit higher on the road, 4.6 on the road lifetime. He's a very tough customer here, but he's pretty much a tough customer every time he takes the ball. So the Phils will have their work cut out for him, guys.
Certainly looks like he likes the comforts of home here at Busch Stadium. He's out of the mound warming up. Let's take a look at the Phillies starting lineup, brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Ben Revere leads it off in left field. Odubel Herrera bats second. Chase Utley hits third, followed by Jeff Francoeur and Ryan Howard. Cody Ashley once again will bat sixth. Carlos Ruiz, after a 4-hit night last night, hit seventh. Freddie Galvis eighth, and Severino Gonzalez making his major league debut. And there is Michael Wacha, the 6'6" Texan, who is 3-0 on the year at ERA of 1.33, as Murph said. He has never faced the Phillies. Part of that is because he was on the disabled list last year. But, Ben, as we mentioned, he's got some good stuff when he's out there on the mound. He's got some very, very good stuff, and all starts with his fastball. His fastball location, despite his age, is phenomenal. We take a look at the Budweiser scouting report, 91 to 95, curve, change, slider. And this is, like you said, his first career start against the Phillies. Yeah, last year 5-6 with an ERA of just over 3 before the injury to his arm. Ben Revere will walk up to the plate to get things started for the Phillies. Ryan Sandberg has been using this same lineup the last couple of days. It's been productive for the Phils. They have 31 hits in the last 4 games. Pretty good to average just under 8 hits per game. And the first pitch of the night. Take it for a strike. We're underway, 0-1. Ben was 1 for 5 in last night's ball game with a couple RBIs, including the double down the left field line that gave the Phillies the lead for good. Tried to hold up. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the third base umpire, Chris Guccione. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Kathleen Ruck of Shanksville. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, and Kathleen will win $200. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Revere. Ben has hit in 3 consecutive games, and if he gets on, he's obviously a threat to run. He's already stolen 5 bases this year. And that one is hit foul down the left field line. Home plate umpire tonight is Corey Blazer. Jeff Nelson, the crew chief, at first. Laz Diaz at second, and Guccione at third. Another foul ball. Good at bat so far for Ben Revere. It's exactly what you like to see out of your leadoff guy. See a lot of pitches, make the pitcher work. Plus, it helps you as a hitter pick up release point, something that if he is in the game later on, you'll be able to have a better idea of where it's coming from. Broken bat roller off the mound. Peralta charges. He has it, and a base hit for Ben Revere. The ball will go off the front of the dugout. That's a break for the Cardinals. If it had gone maybe 3 feet to the left, it would have gone down the stairwell, and it would have been an extra base for Revere. It's also a break of that M110 that Ben was using. Yeah. Funny, yeah, I think if Peralta comes up cleanly with that, he's going to get him at first base, but he just double clutch, couldn't get out of his glove. the pressure of speed, I guess, more than anything else. So they do score that a base hit. So Rivera's hit it in 4 straight. Odubel Herrera is 3 for 4 with an RBI so far in this series. Overall hitting .300. No homers and 4 runs batted in. And he bunts toward third. Carpenter's got it. His play is over to first in time to get Herrera. That'll go down as a sacrifice, I would assume. Although he was sort of in position to try to bunt for a hit. Carpenter was creeping in, though.
Yeah, I think they'll give him a sack on that.
Yeah, they just announced sacrifice. 5-3 on the putout. Phillies now have 9 sacrifice bunts in the last 5 games. They're averaging 2 per game. Tells you one thing, that the pitchers are doing their job. Chase Utley 0 for 4 in last night's ball game. His average at 113 with a couple home runs, 9 runs batted in. Oh, 0-2. Fastball at 93 on the inside part of the plate. Michael Wacha so far has faced Max Scherzer of the Nationals and Johnny Cueto twice. So the fact that he's 3-0 is even more impressive. Change up, and Utley is struck out. 2 outs, first strikeout of the night for Wacha. All right, Ben, time now for our Nissan keys to the game.
The keys to the game, plain and simple. Hit the heater. Wacha throws a lot of fastballs and sever the nerves. Severino. Sever the nerves. Hopefully he won't be too anxious out there tonight.
Jeff Francoeur grounds one to short. Well, we'll find out. The major league debut of Severino Gonzalez is upon us. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left in scoring position. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Phillies, Cardinals scoreless. The official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phils. John Jay leads it off for the first time this year. Matt Carpenter bats second. Matt Holliday hits third. Matt Adams is cleanup. Johnny Peralta will bat fifth. He's at shortstop. Jason Hayward hits sixth. Yadier Molina will bat seventh. Colton Wong eighth. And batting ninth at pitching, of course, is Wacha. And they will face 22-year-old right-hander Severino Gonzalez out of Panama. Those are his numbers from AAA. 1-1 with a 3.57 ERA. Ryan Sandberg basically said, Ben, that he wants to see Severino throw exactly the way he threw in spring training in 3 scoreless innings against the Braves.
Hey, you don't want to change anything as we look at the Budweiser scouting report. 86-92. He's not going to overpower you, but his curveball and his changeup are phenomenal. And like I said, this is his first career start, so he's going to be anxious.
First pitch is over for a strike to John Jay. So they throw the baseball out. That was pretty cool.
Yes.
The 0-1 pitch to Jay. It's a foul 0-2. He is a strike thrower, and he does work quickly. Ryan Sandberg was fast to point that out on a couple of different occasions when talking about Gonzalez. And a little history for Major League Baseball. You know, they say that that you can find prospects everywhere in the world. Well, for the first time in Major League history, you've got a Panamanian battery with Ruiz catching and Gonzalez on the mound, and the first out is a 3-1 putout. So one away here in the first.
And the advantage that he does have, despite not having overpowering stuff, is that these hitters have never seen him before. So he can go out there and obviously put a lot of faith in Chooch. Chooch knows how to go after and attack these hitters. So they'll be working very well, and I don't think he'll be shaking Chooch too much this evening.
Well, it's funny you say that, because Dave Brundage and Ray Burris, when they told Severino that he was coming up to the big leagues, Dave brought him into the office, and I guess he had shaken off whoever was catching for the Iron Pigs in the last game a few times, because they wanted him to throw his changeup a little bit more, and he wants to throw his cutter. And Dave was trying to tell him he needs to work on the changeup. He said, now, if you were up in the big leagues, would you ever shake off Carlos Ruiz? He said, oh, no, I would never shake Carlos Ruiz off. He goes, are you sure? As Carpenter takes inside, 1-1. He said, no, I would never shake Carlos Ruiz off. So he said, all right, well, we'll find out Tuesday night, because you're starting for the Phillies Tuesday night. And he sat there for a moment, and he was trying to soak it all in and make sure that Brundy wasn't telling him a fib. And then his eyes started to well up, and Dave Brundage said that's the best part of the job when you're a AAA manager.
That is cool.
2 balls, 1 strike to Matt Carpenter. And Carpenter rips it foul in the right field line. By the way, I think he just shook him off. Maybe Chooch wanted him to shake him off.
I think he wanted him to shake.
Carpenter hitting .373. Fastball up and away, 3-2. A lot of the Phillies front office members, their development people, they like Gonzalez for a number of reasons. They like him, A, because he works quickly, pounds the strike zone, but they also like the way his cutter has come along during his career. That one's hit well, deep to right center field. Francoeur going back, so is Herrera. It is a 1-hop off the wall, and Carpenter will pull in the second base. Now he's going to head to third. The throw by Utley is not in time. A 1-out triple, the first triple of the year for Matt Carpenter.
Well, they did everything they could do. But I think that long hop off the base of the wall there really just enabled him to get to third. And a great relay throw by Chase Utley there, right on the money, but it was just too late. It's the left-hander's nitro zone right there. We always talk about down and into lefties is something you need to stay away from. But you see that tall bounce off the warning track there, and I think that's really what helped Carpenter get to third.
So he's in scoring position, and one of the best hitters in the league with runners in scoring position. Matt Holliday is the batter. Holliday swings through a cutter, and it's 0-1. Holliday hitting .364, a home run, 11 runs batted in. Inside, 1-1.
Did he get bigger since last night?
Well, he probably worked out today.
I'm sure of that.
And a liner out through the gap in left center field. The Cardinals will take the lead. Carpenter will stroll home from third, and Holliday will lumber to second base and stop there. It's an RBI double, 1-0 St. Louis. '56 extra base hits now for the Cardinals on the year.
Ball's down. He's just a strong man. But I mentioned this last night, the best thing that Holiday does is he really, once he gets to the baseball, he never pulls off. He just keeps his back, just stays in that zone. It's not sweeping through the zone, but he gets there, and that's why you don't see him really hook a lot of balls. His extension is just phenomenal.
Well, here's Matt Adams, who was 0 for his last 6. 0 for 3 in last night's ball game with a couple of strikeouts. In fact, 3. Change up. This is low, 1-0. And that one's looped into foul territory on the third base side. 1-1.
Where you really need to bear down and tell yourself, you know what? It's just like me pitching in the Lehigh Valley. It's the same game. I know it doesn't feel like it, but it really is the same game. You execute your pitches, you're going to have success.
Ground ball right side, and that's going to sneak into center field at base hit. Holiday's around third, heading home. The throw by Herrera. It's over the head of the cutoff man. Adams doesn't advance. It's 2-0 Cardinals on top. Bob McClure's thinking about coming out. How much of this is nerves, Ben, and how much of this is just the Cardinals are getting some good swings?
Yeah, they're getting some good swings, and he might be a little bit nervous, but he still has to execute pitches.
Johnny Peralta, who's hit in 7 straight, is the hitter for the Cards. Phillies will set up to try to turn 2. Breaking ball down and away, 1-0. Sal Agustinelli, who is the director of international scouting for the Phillies, said today, and I thought this was kind of interesting, that when Gonzalez was signed, he probably threw in the low 80s. There's a liner out towards second on 1 hop. That should be a double play, and is. But the reason he was signed is because players from Panama, pitchers in particular, develop later as they get bigger, and that's exactly what Gonzalez has done. He's allowed 2 runs, though, in this inning on 3 hits. We'll go to the second here in St. Louis. The New York Mets, all women 15 and older, will receive the Phillies wristlet when they come to the ballpark. You can get your tickets now by going to Phillies.com. We got to look at that giveaway during spring training. Outstanding giveaway. One of the new ones the Phils have implemented this year. Ryan Howard leads it off. Phil's down 2-0, and Howard takes a strike. Howard was 1 for 4 in last night's ball game. Tie him up at 0-2. 197 with 3 home runs. And he struck out on 3 pitches. Second strikeout for Walker.
This is a fastball that's supposed to be inside. Just ends up really running away. Late movement there.
Cody Ashe, who is at 306. Walked once last night, picked up a hit. I guess it's safe to say that Michael Wacha is a strike throw. That one's pulled. One hop picked by Adams. 3-1 on the putout. 2 outs here in the second. During the 2015 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Cheers. Michael Wacha has thrown 13 consecutive strikes. You say he's a strike thrower. I mean, he is certainly maintaining that reputation. That's 14.
Toots with a very deliberate walk to home plate, trying to give Severino Gonzalez a little bit of time.
Fly ball right center field. Hayward will give way to Jay, and a quick inning for Michael Wacha. Just 7 pitches. Phillies go down in order. We'll go to the bottom of the second. Cardinals up 2-0. Shift to who will he take? Get complete Eagles first round draft coverage starting Thursday night at 5 after the Phil's Cardinals series finale. Only on Comcast Sportsnet. Back here at St. Louis, we move to the bottom of the second. All right, Ben, I'm sure you handled the major league debuts of a number of pitchers. If you're Carlos Ruiz, would you say anything to Gonzalez after that first inning? Just to kind of lighten him up a little bit?
No. Back in the saddle. Here we go.
First pitch to Hayward is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Hayward 205 with a couple home runs, 4 RBIs. That one's toward the hole and a base hit to right field. Well, that's the 4th hit now for the Cards. Now Yadier Molina will come up.
We talked about that fast infield last night. I mean, that ball wasn't hit terribly hard, but he made it through the infield with ease.
Yadier hitting .273. He lays off, and it's 1 ball, no strikes. That was the cutter right there from Severino Gonzalez, a pitch that he basically came to the Phillies from the Venezuela Summer League with. That ball, no strikes. Swing and a miss. Last year, because he threw it so well and he threw the fastball well, the Phillies told him, hey, listen, we're not going to let you throw it for a little bit of time. You just have to throw the changeup, fastball and changeup, because you need to learn the changeup a little bit more. So he did. And that's why the changeup is now part of his repertoire. I thought that was kind of interesting, though, in the minor leagues. All right, we know you can throw the cutter. So now put that on the shelf. Throw the changeup as your second pitch.
It's all about development. You know, it's not so much about wins and losses, but if you know you have a pitch you can always go to, then that's a luxury that you have as a pitcher. But trying to develop other pitches. Cole Hamels, veteran guy. Just now is he really throwing that curveball effectively like he did last night. That's Cole Hamels.
Just missed it side, 2-2.
No matter how good you are in this game, there's always something to work on.
Yeah, we're so removed from the minor leagues that we kind of forget that sometimes, that there are, you know, you can go half a season, a full season, if you're a pitcher, just working on a couple of different things to get yourself better.
A couple throws over to first. I don't think Hayward's going to be going anywhere with that bad groin. And he hurt Milwaukee.
Got a good lead. Outside, 3-2. Colton Wong waits on deck.
Might be going here, though. Full count. Yachty doesn't strike out a whole lot.
There he goes. Pitch is hit foul. Curveball that was left up a little bit. Some other tidbits on Severino Gonzalez, youngest pitcher to make his major league debut for the Phils since Scott Matheson back in 2006 at the age of 22. Tonight marks the first time, as we mentioned, MLB history that two Panamanian natives are part of the battery to start a game.
He looks young, doesn't he?
He does look young.
Alive.
How about Cameron Rupp? He's talking about Carlos and Severino as Hayward goes, pitches outside, ball 4. Referencing how Carlos is older, probably about 14 years. Well, here are some of the other starting pitchers who have debuted for the Phils, 23 years of age or younger. Gavin Floyd, boy, he was just 21. I forgot about that. Brett Myers in Chicago was 21. Scott Matheson, 22. Cole was 22 when he made his major league debut against the Cincinnati Reds. Pettibone, who was placed on the 60-day DL today to make room on the 40-man for Gonzalez. And then Kyle Kendrick in 07 against the White Sox. 6 innings, 3 earned runs.
Look at that stat of Brett Myers. 8 innings at Wrigley Field and give up 1 run. That's a heck of a debut.
I remember vividly his family right behind the dugout, the Phillies dugout, watching that game. What I talk about, an adrenaline rush. He was, oof. Well, 2 on, nobody out here in the bottom of the second. Colton Wong is the batter. He is the number 8 hitter. 1 for 4 last night. He hit a double late in the game. And he takes on the outside corner. It's 0-1. Change up, and actually that was a fastball, 0-2. Ball had some change up action on it, dipping down and away.
He's a quick worker.
Fly ball, shallow left field. Galvis on the dead run. Here comes Revere, and it's going to drop in front of him. Hayward's around third, heading for home. The throw to the plate by Revere is in time. He is out at the plate. The runners do move up to second and third. Ben Revere with his second outfield assist of the season. That was kind of a no man's land. I think if Revere had accelerated at the end, he may have been able to catch that one.
I think so, but I think Freddie was probably calling that ball. It's an infielder's ball until the outfielder comes in and calls him off. I think just at that last minute, Freddie gave way to Ben. But give Ben credit. He came up firing, was able to at least get one out of it. We'd like to see that ball caught at first and second with the pitcher up. Take your chances there.
Well, now Michael Wacha, who is 0 for 7 this year, and 4 for 57 for his career. Jose Oquendo says, hey, wait a minute, big boy, I want someone to throw some signs down here. A chopper over to left side. Ashley's got it. Oh, he's going to come home, but he couldn't get out of his glove. Molina scores an RBI for Wacha. 3-0. Cardinals on top. Actually, maybe it wasn't that he couldn't get in his glove. Maybe he felt like he couldn't get Molina at the plate.
Well, I think he could get out of his glove, and that's definitely the right play there. Already being down 2-0. You have a chance at home plate with a very, very slow runner. If anything, maybe he could have let Freddie got that, but he just couldn't get out of his glove.
That's what it was. John Jay grounded out his first time up. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Colton Wong leads off third. And a base hit to right field. That'll score another run. Wong will score from third. And it's 4-0 Cardinals.
Ball's just elevated. You know, you can see by the radar gun he's not going to overpower you. So you just have to make sure you're down in the zone, and it's another pitch that's elevated.
Well, Matt Carpenter, who double or triple, I should say, his last time up, is up for the second time. And a fastball in there for strike, and it's 0-1.
Now, this is a very good offensive ball club, but it goes to show you how good Cole was last night. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, this is a Cardinals team that had been 4 for its last 32 with runners in scoring position coming into the game. But they're not missing much with runners in scoring position. Towering fly ball to right field. Francoeur has a beat on it, but he makes the catch a few steps from the wall. Side is retired. 2 more runs score for the Cardinals. We'll head to the third, and the Cards lead it 4-0. Field in Chicago. 8 innings. Hopping off the mound. Right on the outside part of the plate. What we saw that day is that he had a plus fastball. And he was getting those Cubs hitters to chase it. There's Moises Alou. Larry Boa congratulating him on picking up a major league victory in his debut.
Nasty stuff right there.
Sure was. Well, Severino Gonzalez is going to get himself ready to hit. Bat rack is down the stairs. Freddie Galvis leads it off. And Walker begins with another strike. Galvis hitting .344. Back toward the middle and a base hit into center field.
He is something. Oh wait, Freddie.
Came into the game 8th in the league in average. Look at that. 19 strikes, 3 balls.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say, he's thrown 17 straight strikes. But if you're a catcher, you got to go out there and say, hey, throw one out of the strike zone once.
See that bull? Hit the bull. From Bull Door.
Yeah. And Gonzalez bunts it back to the mound. Walker thought about going to second, but instead goes to first.
That's the right play there. You may have gotten him at second base there, but you're up 4-0. Get your outs. Especially early on in the ball game. This is obviously not an ideal situation for the Phillies. You have a guy, Michael Wacha, on the mound who can be as good as anybody, and you're down 4-0 after 2 innings. So keep him right there, and hopefully the Phillies can find a way to get back in this game.
Yeah, try to grind something out here. Ben Revere, who singled in his first at bat, an infield single. Up with 1 away. Breaking ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Ben, that's the first ball in the last 19 pitches.
I said he was a strike thrower.
Inside 2-0. We've got a new trend going here. Revere's first at bat, he ran the count to 3 balls and 2 strikes, fouled off a few before he was able to reach on the infield hit. Chopper right side, Wong to his left. It'll throw out Revere as Galvis goes over to third. So a runner at third with 2 men down, and Murph Odubel Herrera is coming up, sacrificing his last at bat. I think the Phillies hope that he's swinging this time. Probably wished he was swinging last time, but hope he's swinging this time.
Perhaps they were hoping that he was swinging the first time, and I would imagine he'll be swinging here with 2 outs, guys. But you know, if you're looking for a bright spot up and down this Phillies lineup, it has been Odubel Herrera so far this season. If you take a look at his numbers and compare him with the rest of the rookies in the National League through the first 20 games, how about he leads in batting average, hits, doubles, triples, and stolen bases? He's in second in a couple of other offensive categories as well. And you know, you keep coming back to the idea that this is a guy who never faced pitching above the AA level until this year at spring training. He certainly has been a breath of fresh air in this lineup. He's been an energy guy and a guy that's been getting on base and doing some good things. So it's certainly a positive in a year where you're looking for positives and guys who do some good things.
And Ben, we were looking today, Murph, I didn't even share this with you before, but the number of pitches per at bat that he sees, it's nearly 4 per at bat. I mean, that's very good,
especially for a younger kid that's never been, like Murph said, above the AA level. To be able to foul pitches off, that shows you his hand-eye coordination.
1 ball, 1 strike to Herrera. He takes high. It's 2-1.
You know, Ben, I know you've talked about the movement in his swing, and how it's hard to get all that working together, but it really has, you know, worked for him at every level that he's been to. So it's just been impressive to watch, no doubt about it.
Well, let's see if he can come through here with the Phils getting a runner over at third. Second runner in scoring position in this game. Inside and low, 3-1. So there we go. He's seen 4 pitches in this at bat. .385 with runners in scoring position.
He definitely lets the ball get deep. That's why it's a perfect example there. Why there's so many foul balls off the third base dugout or over the third base dugout. He really lets the ball travel, kind of like Ichiro Suzuki. Now, I'm not comparing him to Ichiro just yet, but he lets the ball get deep. And good hitters like that, they're not afraid to get jammed.
Now toward right center field. That's pretty well hit. They're not going to get that one. Jay lets it go, and it's off the Bank of America side. Herrera will pull into second base, an RBI double, and it's a 4-1 ball game.
Lord, that thing was smoked.
Actually carried farther than I thought.
Almost knocked the wall over. See, that's the issue I have with him bunting in the first inning. He's your hottest hitter. Look at this. This is just a great pass right here. Changeup right there, stays down through the ball, and this ball was, again, we talk about guys hit line drives, way the ball comes off guys' bats. It just really jumps off his bat.
Well, now Chase Utley has a chance with a runner in scoring position. He shoots it through the hole on the left side of base hit. Herrera's around third, heading for home. It'll be an RBI single, and it's a 2-run ball game.
Anyway, Chase going after that first pitch, so I'd like to see. All this with 2 outs. Of course, Freddie got that going, but guys string at bats together. You claw your way back. You know, I don't care who's on the mound. It's great to see.
Francoeur 0 for 1. He grounded a shortstop his first time up. Short lead for Utley, so he's back easily.
Now getting back to the first inning, though, but I don't know what's going through his mind, but the way, if I'm swinging the bat like that, I'm not laying one down. I'm swinging it. Maybe end up with a second and third, nobody out, or first and third.
Particularly with Carpenter playing in. I mean, Carpenter got on that ball pretty quickly. He was in about a step or two from the third base bag.
And no offense to Chase and Francoeur and Howie, but they're not exactly killing the ball right now. So why do you want to give up an out for somebody that is swinging the bat very well?
Swing and a miss, 0-2.
It's a learning process like anything else. And he's a young kid. He'll figure it out.
Way outside, 1 ball, 2 strikes to Francoeur. th start of the year for Jeff. He fouls it off again. Toyota Major League Scoreboard, the Braves lead the Nationals 10-6. The Nationals have lost 6 consecutive games. That game's only in the bottom of the 5th inning already. 16 runs, 22 hits. Low, 2-2.
Well, it's too early to speculate, but Matt Williams' job okay down there in Washington?
Manager of the year last year. But they are not off to the start that everybody imagined. And Utley just gets back.
quick feet there by Waka.
That's a different slide, different dive back, isn't it?
That is not on the Tom Emanski instructional video.
I don't know if Chase Utley does it. It might be on the next edition of the Tom Emanski instructional video. Inside 3-2. So Utley will be off on this pitch. Well, they're making Waka work in this inning.
Say that 10 times.
Making Waka work. How fast do I have to say it? Utley goes, and the pitch is hit a mile high on the infield. Peralta, the shortstop, gently comes in, makes the catch. Side is retired, but the Phils scored 2. RBI double by Herrera, RBI single by Utley. We'll head to the bottom of the third. It's a 2-run game. Fan section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Ben, here's the question. Who was the first grandfather-grandson tandem in Major League history to hit for the cycle? Answer will be revealed a little later on. How you feel about that one?
Really starting to hope you guys would give me some harder ones.
That easy, huh?
I came into the series thinking I'm just going to answer Stan Musial or Lou Brock for every question.
Matt Holliday smokes one back through the middle, his second hit of the game. So the first pitch from Gonzalez here in the bottom of the third is lined back through the middle by Matt Holliday, who is now 3 for 4 in this series. And Matt Adams will be the hitter. Adams singled and drove in a run his last time up. Just a bit outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Almost the same spot, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Cody Ashley is exactly where Matt Adams' single went his first at bat. Of course, they couldn't have the shift on because of the runners on third base.
A high fly ball to deep right center field. Frank Gore going back, and it is off the base of the wall. Holliday will stop at third. Second and third with nobody out here in the bottom of the third. Well, that's 8 hits now. for the Cardinals.
Matt Adams just goes down and gets this pitch, drives it out to right field. You don't want to, like I said, you clawed your way back into this game off a very good pitcher, cut the lead in half. Now you're up second and third with nobody out in the bottom of the third.
Johnny Peralta is the batter. The infield comes in halfway. And Peralta fouls it back. It's 0-1.
He definitely could take a peek here at Holiday running home because of his lack of speed. His hitters look very comfortable right now, Tom.
And 2. Boy, could he use a strikeout here. I know he's not necessarily a strikeout pitcher, but he could use his first big league strikeout right here.
Absolutely. I just happened to glance in the booth next to us where Fransky and LA are, and Larry didn't look too pleased in the fact that not a whole lot of pitches are being thrown inside. Very demonstrative with his gestures.
Kind of looks like he has a migraine. 1-2 pitch. And that one is ripped foul down the left field line. So it remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ruiz going out to chat with Gonzalez. Jim Salisbury from CSNPhilly.com had a really good story that was online last night. And you can still see it today on the relationship between Ruiz and Severino Gonzalez. How combined the Phillies were able to get both for $22,000. Severino got 14, Ruiz got 8. Obviously 14 years or so apart. And the 1-2 pitch. And he fights it off foul. Looks like the Phillies are going to get the bullpen up. Dustin McGowan has the sweatshirt off. And it looks like he's going to start the throw. He was the starter the last time this spot in the rotation came up.
So he is stretched out a little bit. They need him to throw a few innings today.
Out toward right center field. Herrera should get to it, but Holiday is going to come home from third. Herrera's throw will go toward third base, but it'll be a sac fly. And it's 5-2 Cardinals. 10 RBIs now for Peralta on the year.
That accomplished 2 goals right there. Got him over, got him in. Looks like someone just magically puts an RBI in your column. No at bat.
First pitch inside, 1 ball, no strikes to Hayward. Hayward singled his first time up, chopper through the right side, hitting only .216 on the year. ball four. Well, now the double play is in order, although Molina has not hit into a double play this year. He walked his last time up and scored a run. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Budweiser is still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Gorgeous night here in St. Louis. Beautiful day. Temperatures are warming up. By the time Thursday afternoon rolls around, temperatures will be in the 70s. Phillies will leave St. Louis and head to the 80s down in South Florida, face the Marlins.
Roll you a pair right here.
Inside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Jim Jackson and I went to the Arch today.
Jim Jackson
walked over and I said, you know, JJ, we would not be doing this if it were July or August. Not in St. Louis. But it was a beautiful day. 630 feet at the top, Tom.
Was it confining? Did you feel confined?
Going up that little egg on the way up, it was a little tough.
Murph, did you go to the Arch today?
I did go to the Arch today, as a matter of fact.
Did you go up with Jim Jackson and Ben?
Nope, I stayed on the bottom.
Content at the bottom?
Very content at the bottom. It's a pretty impressive sight, though. You don't realize just how big it is until you're right there on it.
Ben, did you take some photos of your visit?
Took a
up there?
few. Yeah, I'm going to try and tweet them out here in a second.
1 ball and no strikes to Yadier Molina. Way outside, 2-0.
Love to see Chooch snap throw one down here to first base. Hayward is very lazy getting back to first base. And he takes a big secondary. Just on that right near and fire one down there. Whether you get him or not, it makes him shorten up a bit. Maybe that's the difference in turning double play. Plus, it's fun to do.
Out of play, 2 balls and 1 strike into the second level. So we had a Major League scoreboard. Marlins and Mets tied at 3. That game's at the top of the 7th. Does not look like they're going to play a 1 hour and 58-minute game tonight. Juan Lagares a 3-run double. Goes from first. Pitch is lifted in the air to shallow left field. Adams tagging from third. Revere is under it, makes the catch. Here's the throw to the plate by Revere. It is not in time. Another sacrifice fly. Six to 2. Cardinals on top.
Boy, he made that play at home really close. Give Ben credit. We know he's not blessed with a bazooka, but the difference that he has made in left field, getting behind balls, getting momentum behind the throw. That's a great throw. I know Matt Adams is running, and he's not the fastest, but at least he's making an effort out there. I mean, he's very accurate as well. I mean, he threw out Hayward earlier in the game.
Well, as he said a few weeks ago, it's time to change the scouting report, and I would think the advanced scouts are taking notice. Hayward didn't advance to second because we mentioned he was going on the pitch, so he had to go back to first. By the time he did, it was too late. one's hit well. Toward right field, Francoeur over toward the stands. Does he have room? And he reaches up, and a fan made the catch. The fan did not interfere. He did not reach over, so it's just a foul ball, and the fan gets a souvenir.
Been a tough play, but
wow, Francoeur was right there. But again, by rule, Francoeur went into the stands. The fan did not reach out to make that grab.
Yeah.
Out towards shallow right center field. There's a tough play. Herrera's coming in. It's going to drop in front of him. A base hit. Hayward goes to third. Herrera does play deep, so there wasn't a whole lot he could do with that. Phillies baseball is brought to you by McDonald's. Any size hot or iced coffee is just $1. McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop Nissan.com. Cardinals have scored 2 runs in each inning so far. They lead it 6-2. Ryan Sandberg was saying that one of the main reasons Severino was here was because he didn't want to have to burn his bullpen. Well, he's going to have to go to his bullpen. At least it seems that way.
I think this will be his last hitter.
And Walker lines it out towards center. Coming on is Herrera, and he's not going to get there. Throws it on the hop. A run will score. Wong stops at second. An RBI single for Walker. 7-2, Cardinals on top. Well, and they are certainly cashing in with runners in scoring position tonight.
Pitcher versus pitcher. He goes up there being aggressive. You know, you're pretty much going to get a heater.
Well, a double switch, and Severino Gonzalez's major league debut has come to a close. He's still responsible for the 2 runners on base. Grady Sizemore will come in for Jeff Francoeur. Pretty good to watch Ryan Howard come over initially, pat him on the back. Chase Utley came over, grabbed him on the shoulder. Galvis came in as well. Everybody dreams about their major league debut, and Severino Gonzalez should stick with the Phils for at least one more start. And he'll have some time to make some adjustments. Ryan Sandberg will take the baseball, and we've got a pitching change here at Busch Stadium with the Cardinals on top, 7-2. Wide selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup pods to keep you running. Order by 11:30 and get free same-day delivery. Who but WB Mason. Severino Gonzalez is done. After 2 2/3, his line is not complete yet. 2 runners on base are his responsibility. John Jay is the hitter. Dustin McGowan is the new pitcher for the Phillies. Jay is 1 for 3 and an RBI single his last time up. And he fouls it out over the Phillies dugout. 0-1. McGowan's numbers: 10 hits, 10 1/3. Started his last time on the mound. Went 3+ innings for the Phillies. Broke his bat and a swibber over to third, handled by Ashe. And the inning is finally over. 8 men come to the plate in the inning. 3 more runs score for the Cardinals. We'll head to the 4th inning. The Phils down by 5, 7-2. Featuring great experiences and collectibles, including a round of golf for 3 with Hall of Famer Steve Carlton, dinner party for 8 with Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt in the Phillies executive dining room. The fantastic auction partners include WIP and WPHT and benefits Phillies charities. Auction ends May 13th and 14th. Check it out now by going to Phillies.com. It'd be pretty cool to be on the golf course with Lefty. You really never know what he's going to say. You can ask him any kind of question. And have dinner with Schmitty. Executive dining room, if you haven't been there, if you haven't been invited to be there or haven't been there for any kind of an event, man, they can cook some food out there. It's a great place to be. There are a lot of other items, including a chance to have a slumber party in the Phillies clubhouse. Interesting. Ryan Howard leads it off here in the 4th, and Howard takes up high, 1-0. And just being downstairs on the field is cool enough for a kid, but to be in the clubhouse and have a sleepover with a bunch of your friends,
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
TVs everywhere. Severino Gonzalez still sitting on the bench, taking it all in. Colton Wong takes care of Howard. 4-3 in the putout. 1 out here in the 4th.
You know, you feel for a kid. One of the only reasons you play is you want to get to the big leagues. That's the only place to play. You have fun playing baseball, yes, but ultimately you want to play in the big leagues. You finally get the opportunity, and you don't have a good outing. So now all the doubts start to creep in. Was I ever really good enough? Can I make it? Do I deserve to be here? All the doubt starts creeping in your mind, and it's a tough pill to swallow.
No balls and 1 strike, and Ashe takes low. Just this season, Chris Bryant from the Cubs struck out his first 3 times. Now, he made a couple of good defensive plays, but struck out 3 times and was 0 for 4 in his debut with all the hype surrounding him. Now, he only had to wait a day to come back, and he has since started to hit and has had an impact on those Cubs. But, you know, he wanted to come out of the gate and fire and struggled, but then the next day, you know, figured some things out, and maybe Severino Gonzalez can do that with a bullpen session here and then another start on this road trip.
Yeah, you hope he can. You absolutely hope he can and make some adjustments. You know, that's the first time we've seen him. Maybe the stuff that he had tonight isn't his usual stuff. And maybe his ball was a little bit flatter.
And not to make excuses or anything, but I would think adrenaline, nerves, a lot of that would have something to do with that, maybe.
Yeah, and you going up against a really good hitting ball club in the Cardinals, and a club that gets stymied the night before.
Another ground ball over to Wong, and 2 outs here in the 4th. Ashe's retired. Carlos Ruiz will come up. Carlos flied to center his first time up. What was a very quick second inning for Michael Wacha. Chooch had a word or two with the home plate umpire about that last pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No.
We have him down as that being a change, but that ball is dipping like it's a split.
Yeah, the scouting report says circle change for Michael Wacha.
Usually changeups go down and away to a lefty or down into a righty. They have more of a fade on it. That one's going straight down.
Swing and a miss. 93-mile-an-hour heater. 1-2-3. Go the Phils here in the 4th inning. 3 strikeouts for Wacha. He's retired the Phils in order on 2 different occasions. Dealer at ChevyDealer.com and by Budweiser. Still brewed the hard way. This Bud's for you. Last of the 4th inning. Dustin McGowan will go back to work and will face Matt Carpenter, Matt Holliday, and Matt Adams. Carpenter and Holiday, not just one of them, but both of them have reached base safely with a hit or a walk in every game so far this year. Talking about having one or two guys hot at the same time. I mean, those are two guys that are blistering hot right now for the St. Louis Cardinals. Part of the reason why they've won 12 games, that and their pitching staff.
That is some consistency.
Carpenter is 1 for 2, a triple and a flyout. Outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Andres Blanco will chat with Severino Gonzalez. Everybody's been there.
Just don't want it to be on your first outing.
Change up, 1-1. It's good though. I mean, it's supportive by his teammates.
Oh, it's great.
Swing and a miss, 1-2. Line drive, 1 hopper to Chase Utley. And he takes care of Carpenter. 1 gone here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Matt Holliday's coming up. And it's time to take a look at our T-Mobile game changer. Now, these 2 bullpens have been good so far this season. Cardinals bullpen 2.01 ERA. The Phillies bullpen 2.98 earned run average.
I don't think the Cardinals bullpen has been used as much as the Phillies. The Phillies have, and we knew that going into the season, that the Phillies bullpen was going to be very good. The Cardinals always find big arms out in that bullpen.
Yeah, and you look at the Cardinals bullpen, they've got a lot of veterans. Belisle, Choate, Villanueva, Manis. 1 ball, no strikes to Holiday. He fouls it back. It's 1-1. Plus they have the hard throwing Trevor Rosenthal. I think that's Choate with the high socks right there. He is. Nope, that's not Choate. That's Matt Belisle, number 37. 2 balls and 1 strike to Holiday.
Those relievers, I remember some of the conversations we'd have out there, and I'd look at them like, what goes through your mind? Takes a different breed to sit out there for 9 innings.
How much time when you weren't catching would you spend out in the bullpen?
If I wasn't catching, I'd go down probably around the 6th. I would head down and sit with the fellas, and it just gives you more room to, you can do some things.
Keep yourself loose.
Yeah, you can stretch and maybe talk over a few things. Maybe the pitchers will ask, did you see anything from the bench that may or may be the same or differ from the scouting report that we already have?
Swing and a miss. Holiday strikes out. 3 in a row retired by McGowan. 2 outs here in the 4th. And Matt Adams will be the hitter. Up, and it's 0-1.
I don't think that song he came out to was the Slippery Rock Fight song.
I don't know what it was. As the week went on after McGowan's spot start on the homestand, His arm has bounced back well. In fact, you can look at his velocity, which has been good. It's been in the mid-90s. And a line drive, base hit for Adams. He's 3 for 3. He had been 0 for his last 6, but 3 hits tonight.
That's why you just can't get too high over the good games and too down over the bad games. Last night he was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts and a walk. And he looked terrible. I'll be honest, he looked terrible. Tonight he goes out and gets 3 hits. It's a funny game, very humbling. You just don't know what you're going to get from day to day. Unless you're Miguel Cabrera.
Because you pretty much know what you're going to get. Johnny Peralta, 0 for 1 with a sac fly. And he pulls that foul past Jose Oquendo. Swing and a miss. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he got him. Ruiz hangs on. A foul tip. 2 strikeouts in the inning for McGowan. No runs. 1 hit, 1 man left. 4 in the books. We'll go to the 5th inning. Cardinals up 7-2. Here we go. Who was the first grandfather-grandson tandem in Major League history to hit for the cycle?
Well, look at the coaching staff of the Cardinals. I'm going to have to go with David Bell.
David Bell is correct.
He did it. His grandfather Gus.
And his grandfather Gus, that is correct. David did it with the Phillies, and Gus did it against the Phillies in 1951. Galvis shows bunt, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike to him. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack.
I actually stayed in David Bell's house in Seattle my first year. His brother, Ricky, plays in the Dodgers organization with my brother Glenn. And David said, you know, after I got traded from San Diego to Seattle, he said, hey, would you ask Glenn's brother if he wants to stay in my place? It's a great place right on Lake Union. Beautiful. Overlooking the lake. Real nice place.
Galvis lines one to left field, a base hit. Freddie's now 2 for 2.
Ho hum, 2 more hits for Freddie.
21 singles this year for Freddie Galvis. And now Grady Sizemore, who came on as part of a double switch, will bat here in the 5th inning. Sizemore hitting 133. One ball and no strikes. Mentioned that Walker's just 23 years old, but he already has 12 major league wins. Not only that, how about the way he exploded on the scene in 2013? He was the National League Championship Series MVP. 21 postseason innings. He allowed 1 run. 2-1. You want to talk about getting your feet wet. 21-year-old in the postseason for the first time, and he wins the MVP award.
Thrown right into the fire. You can see he's got the stuff. I mean, it's a given.
Mentioned he has great size, 6'6", listed at 210. Probably a little bigger than that. Cardinals picked him in the 1st round in 2012 out of Texas A&M. That'll find the seats over the Phillies dugout. Mentioned he missed part of last year. He had a stress reaction in the back of his shoulder. Folks around here had never heard of something like that before, but Brandon McCarthy, who just was placed on the DL because he's having Tommy John surgery, had the same thing a couple of years earlier, but the doctor said they caught Walker's sooner than McCarthy's was caught. Is that what you had?
That still doesn't explain what it is, Tom.
Stress reaction. Must be some kind of a break, a small one now. Ball 4. And runners on 1st and 2nd. Ben Revere's coming up. Well, it was kind of a busy day for the Phillies, Murph. Everybody thought Dominic Brown, or at least Dominic Brown thought he would be here in St. Louis, but that was not the case when we came to the ballpark today.
Not the case. Not the case yet. As of right now, Don Brown has been optioned to the Lehigh Valley. Was eligible to come off the disabled list, doing his rehab assignment, his 20-day rehab assignment down in the Lehigh Valley. And Ruben Amaro Jr. talked to him today and said that they were going to keep him down in the Lehigh Valley for a little bit longer, try to get him a little bit more. A couple more swings and a couple more quality at bats. Just 5 for 36 during his time in the Lehigh Valley was Dominic Brown, and the team felt that he just wasn't ready to come to the big leagues and face big league pitching. They want to get him, get him a couple more swings and see if he can get hot down there at the Lehigh Valley. They certainly need offense at the major league level. That's what they want, but they just felt like Dominic Brown wasn't quite ready to come back to the big league. So that's the decision that they made today, and obviously a tough decision to make. A guy that was a former All-Star for this team, and he wants to be here. He made it clear to Ruben Amaro Jr. today that he wants to be here, and Ruben said, hey, that's what he wants to hear. He wants a guy that wants to be up here, but for the time being, he's going to play the next couple of days or so down in the Lehigh Valley and try to get some more work in, guys.
Well, and the thing about it is he has 72 hours officially to report, even though he was there already. He did not report today, and that's going to be an interesting storyline as we move forward also.
Ron Sandberg was asked about that today, and Rhino said, well, that's his right, that he doesn't have to report. The players have that option, but yeah, you would hope that the guy who's in the Lehigh Valley at the time would want to get back there and get those at bats as soon as possible to work his way back to the big leagues.
It is his right, but it's not going to make anybody happy.
I don't think so. Then Revere takes outside. Now all of a sudden it's 3 balls and no strikes to Revere. Phillies trail it 7-2. Trying to kick up the storm here at the top of the 5th inning. Odubel Herrera is on deck. Ball 4, and the bases are now loaded. Derek Lilliquist heading out to the mound to talk to Walker. Sorry, the Major League scoreboard. It's getting a little tighter down in Turner Field, where the Braves lead the Nationals now by 1. Game's only in the 7th inning. In fact, it just shifted as we were talking to the bottom of the 7th inning. 27 hits between the two teams in 7 innings. Or 6.5 innings.
Amazing.
Here's Odubel Herrera, who doubled his last time up. He now has 6 doubles, 2 triples. Inside, 1-0.
He's just undaunted by anything. He has such a presence about him. You could say it's cockiness. Say whatever you want, but he does have a presence on the field.
You just said that was low. Larry Bowen just said it wasn't even close. Chopper up the first base line. Adams has got it. Steps on the first base bag. A run scores. It's now 7-3. An RBI for Herrera. 2nd and 3rd with 1 man down.
Another run scored for Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie has scored 2 of the 3, and now Chase Utley with 2 more in scoring position. Get a base hit here. We've got a ball game again.
Don't fret me with a good time.
I don't know how you're going to be able to stand it. You went up to up in the arch today, and Phillies are going to close the gap. There's Randy Choate. Darren Ruff is in the on deck circle. Pitcher spot's up next. They drove in a run his last time up, single to left. Jake Diekman warming up in the bullpen. Kind of early for Jake Diekman, but it's about the matchups. That one's pulled toward first, and it's booted by Adams. And Utley will be out at first. Another run scores. It's a 7-4 ball game. That ball was hit right on the nose by Utley. He'll get his 2nd RBI of the night.
Adams does a good job of not panicking. Walker, obviously, they're trained. Any ball on the right side, you got to be thinking to cover first. But Adams, if he panics there, he's not going to make the play.
So Darren Ruff will pinch hit. Ruff hitting 143 on the year. And he lines that one out to shortstop, caught by Johnny Peralta. The inning is over. The Phillies get a couple back here in the 5th. 2 RBIs on 2 groundouts. So they've narrowed the lead. It's 7-4 Cardinals as we go to the bottom of the 5th. League has been teaching kids how to play the game since 1989. Donate a baseball glove or two to the next generation of baseball greats at the Citizens Bank kiosk at Citizens Bank Park. Good banking is simple, clear, and personal. And that's helping you bank better. Citizens Bank. Jake Diekman will take over for the Phillies here at the bottom of the 5th inning. It's a 7-4 Cardinals lead. And he'll face Jason Hayward, Yadier Molina, and Kolten Wong. Diekman an earned run average of 10.29. He's allowed 17 base runners in 7 innings of work. Rod Nichols, Bob McClure, they've all been trying to figure out how to get Diekman right.
I think this is a good move, getting him in a ball game earlier in the ball game. And him coming in the bottom of the 5th here. And he has struggled, so if he can get back to doing what Jake Diekman needs to be doing. And you and I were talking, we think it's more mechanical. It's like he's just pole vaulting on that land foot and just short arm, pulling everything when his momentum's going towards third base and not towards home as much.
And that's the 2 pitches that are outside the strike zone right there.
And that's going to make your ball be flatter. And you see him here, he gets to his land foot and he just kind of pole vaults on that and just short arms it and pulls it. And you see his momentum shifting and swinging towards that third base bag instead of going towards home and getting good extension on the ball.
What Ryan Sandberg said is it almost looks like he's aiming the ball. Three balls, no strikes to Hayward. And he walks on 4 pitches. So he's aboard to start the 5th. Teva Respiratory Asthma Awareness Night has always been a good night at the ballpark. It'll be Monday, May 11th when the Phillies take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. 7:05 first pitch, and all fans coming to the yard that night will receive the free baseball cap that you see right there. Tickets can be purchased by going to Phillies.com. You can also check out Phillies.com for all the events that'll be going on around surrounding Teva Respiratory Asthma Awareness Night. Yadier Molina takes a strike. It's 0-1.
I'm sure Jake's frustrated with his recent outings from Bob McClure and the coaching staff, because the bottom line is you're a guy that, you know, you're 6'6", in the mid to upper 90s with a very good slider when it's on. He shouldn't be getting hit. His stuff is too good to get hit.
Off the hands, 1-2 to Molina. Runner goes. Pitch is hit to third. Ooh, nice play, Cody Ashley. Backhands it, fires across the diamond in time to get Molina. He's robbed him for his 2nd night. Talk about hand-eye coordination right there by Cody Ashley.
God, he's thinking, what did I do to you? That's a great play. I mean, just an absolutely great play. You'll see here the ball at the end, it takes a last-minute hop. Whoop, right there. That's why you always work from the ground up with your glove.
Kolten Wong has 2 hits and 2 plate appearances. His average has gone from 279 to 302. He has also scored a run from the 8th spot in the order. Inside, 1-0.
And hopefully that leadoff walk to Hayward doesn't come back and haunt Jake. But you know as well as I do, they score quite often.
Good slider, 1 ball, 1 strike. Home plate umpire Corey Blazer's hearing it from the Phillies dugout. He's been hearing it for the last little bit. That last pitch looked pretty close. And Carlos is saying something to him. You see Blazer's mouth moving behind that mask.
Maybe he was watching the fans do the wave and not the pitch.
He wanted to get in the middle of it. 3 balls, 1 strike to Wong. Broken back ground ball. Hayward will go over to third, but they'll get the second out by a step.
Get a new one.
That happens a lot with Jake Diekman when he's on. And now Waka, who has an RBI on a base hit and an RBI and a ground out.
Down here, get out of it unscathed. It's where you as a catcher still have to be up on your toes. Jake can be erratic at times. You just don't want a ball to get past you for any reason.
You do not want to give back what you were able to just get in the top of the 5th inning. You scored 2. You've made it a game. It's only a 3-run deficit.
With 4 at bats to go.
Got to figure out a way to get the pitcher out here. 3 balls and 1 strike. John Jay on deck. I guess you could say his velocity is down compared to last year when he was hitting 100. He's at 99, but 95 is still well above average.
Absolutely.
And Waka stays alive by fouling it down the right field line. It remains 3-2. Way outside, ball 4. Well, now it gets even more difficult because you have, although a guy that had an RBI single the last at bat in Waka, sort of a light hitting pitcher that you just walked, and now you've got to face John Jay, who is 1 for 3.
He's obviously not out there trying to do that, but for me, that's just inexcusable. That can't happen. You can't walk the pitcher.
Carlos and Freddie Galvis both go to the mound. Bob McClure will head out to talk to Jake Diekman. I think Bob McClure was just telling the infielders they could stay where they are. And that's what he was telling them. Told Cody Ashley he could stay over at third. Ryan Howard's still going to come over. Chase Utley was starting to walk out. Home plate umpire Corey Blazer's coming out. Two balls and no strikes to John Jay. That almost hit Jay, who's already been hit 3 times this year. Was hit in last night's game. In there for strike 3-1. Matt Carpenter's on deck. This is a 25 pitch inning now for Jake Diekman. Runner goes from first. Pitch is hit sharply. Diving. Stopped by Freddie Galvis. And he flips over to first. Not in time. An infield hit. Hayward scores from third. It's 8-4. Cardinals on top. So the leadoff walk does come back to haunt Jake Diekman. And the walk of the pitcher comes back to haunt Jake Diekman. The Phillies give a run back that they just battled to get in the top of the 5th inning.
Freddie does everything he possibly can to get this out here.
You see Walker tumbling into the ground as a throw is going over his head.
Leadoff walks.
Well, Matt Carpenter 1 for 3 is the batter.
Phillies have to find a way to get him right. Him being the only lefty in the pen right now. They need him.
That one floats outside. It's 2-1. Yeah, this is I think this is startling because he was so good last year. Now there were times where he ran into command issues, but he always figured it out. I think this is startling for the Phils that he has come out of the gates with an earned run average over 10. Out toward left center field. That's well hit. Herrera on the run and can't get there. It's a ground rule double. 1 run will score. John Jay will go back to third. 9-4. That is some opposite field power right there by Matt Carpenter.
The fastball is center cut. Carpenter does use the whole field. It shows you how special of a hitter he is. But it's a pitch that, you know, a big league hitter's not going to miss a whole lot. Odubel does everything in his power to get there.
Fortunately, he was able to pop up. And unfortunately, the ball went over the fence because Jay would have scored, and Carpenter possibly could have been on third. Now Matt Holliday's the batter. Takes outside, 1-0. That is 12 doubles in the month of April for Matt Carpenter. He's the leader of the National League in that category.
This is Jake's inning. Nobody's getting loose in the Phil's pen.
And a called strike 3 on the outside corner. Holiday goes down looking. 2 more runs score for the Cardinals. 5 in the books. Matt Carpenter is red hot. Way new to reaching success on the mounds. The durable right-hander has been just that for his new team and has been efficiently strong in all 4 starts. Aaron has posted an ERA of 1.37. Opponents are hitting under 200, and he has set a career high, tossing 8 straight quality starts going back to last season. Harang's edition has been a good one, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Aaron Harang has been as consistent as you will find for the Phillies, and will get the ball tomorrow against Carlos Martinez. Time now for our Geico quote of the day, and this one comes from Ryan Howard on Adam Wainwright's Achilles injury. It's tough, man, especially with an injury like that, any injury. You have to prepare yourself mentally. The mental grind and being the competitor and athlete that he is, obviously going through Tommy John, I'm sure he's going to look at this as a challenge to get back again. Howard out front, loops it foul. This is Adam Wainwright's injury against the Milwaukee Brewers in the last series. Popped it up, left the box, and bam, right there.
Very unsettling to watch. Just knowing what it's going to take to get back.
He said he felt nothing before that, nothing at all before that. And he said the doctors told him that it could have happened anywhere. He said, from a positive standpoint, at least it didn't happen when I was walking up the stairs with one of my children. He said, it happened on the ball field as Howard is hit by a pitch. Well, this is how Ryan Howard injured his Achilles. Stumbling coming out of the box against the Cardinals. And that ended the divisional series. And it's hard to watch. I remember I was sitting in the radio booth when that happened, and you could see Howard obviously from a few steps behind, a few steps back in the radio booth. You can see him hitting, and all of a sudden he disappeared from sight. You're wondering what the heck happened, and then he was down on the ground, was trying to get up and get to first base. As Ashley fouls it back, it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
It was kind of odd. I remember we were doing the pre and post game show, and it was, what happened to Howie? Just so tough to go through that rehab and getting yourself to trust it again, because you know how painful it was. You know how painful all the rehab was.
That's blooped out to right center, a base hit for Ashing. The Phils have 2 on with nobody out. I think Howard's, his comment, correct me if I'm wrong about this, Ben, but his comment about Wainwright going through the Tommy John surgery, that he'll understand the grind. He also had to trust himself again coming back from Tommy John surgery, so maybe that will help Wainwright once he's done with the recovery.
Yeah. The only thing is, he's not the youngest guy. He's up there. He's a veteran. Logged a lot of innings.
Ruiz takes upstairs, 1-0. Phillies are facing Walker tonight on a night where, honestly, he doesn't have his best stuff. He's allowed 4 runs on 6 base hits. But unfortunately, it seems like every time the Phillies score a couple, the Cardinals come back and score a couple of their own. In fact, 3 in the 3rd and 2 in the 5th that the Phils scored. Out of play, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ruiz. Phillies made it 4-2. The Braves scored 3 to make it 7-2. Then it was 7-4. Now it's 9-4. Swing and a miss. Ruiz has struck out. 4 strikeouts now for Walker. Citizens Bank Weather Education Day presented by NBC 10. First Alert Weather will be Thursday, May 14th. Day game against the Pittsburgh Pirates. It wraps up that series. It's also a senior stroll the bases after the game. So order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. We'll have more details on the NBC 10 First Alert Weather in the next few days and what that will entail. Galvis fouls it away. He's 2 for 2 today.
Smelling that bat again. It's such a distinct smell.
Out toward left center field. Holiday on the run makes the catch. And Howard will get back to second. And Ashley back to first. Well, he hit it on the nose again. It just sliced back toward the left fielder. And then Grady Sizemore will come up for the second time. Well, Mike Matheny's heading out to the mound. That is going to be it for Michael Wacha. I have to admit, I'm a little surprised that he has decided to go get his right-hander and not allow him to finish up this 6th inning. But he will give way to his bullpen. On top by 5. I guess he wants to make sure that they neutralize Grady Sizemore with the left-hander. Pitching change here in St. Louis with the Cardinals up 9-4. For Breakfast on Broad over on the Comcast Network. It's brought to you by Virtua. It'll lead into your day, get you caught up on all the news overnight, and preview what's happening in Philadelphia and around the country. And in the world of sports, you can also stream it at breakfastonbroad.com. Randy Choate will take over for the Cardinals. And he will come on to face Grady Sizemore. He fouls it at the plate. It's 0-1.
Well, you have 3 straight lefties coming up, but Michael Wacha with 91 pitches.
I'd let him wiggle out of his own mess.
Take my chances.
No balls and 1 strike to Sizemore. Swing and a miss. 0-2. I guess you're trying to avoid a 3-run home run to make it a 2-run game, but and a breaking ball called. Strike 3. Sizemore's down looking. No runs. 1 hit. 2 men left for the Phils. 5.5 in the books. Wacha in line for a victory if the Cardinals can hang on. Entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Buy Toyota. Where will Toyota take you? Visit buyatoyota.com to find out. Toyota, let's go places. And by Jefferson, where health is all we do. Call 1-800-JEFF now or visit jefferson.edu. Home half of the 6th inning. All the retired numbers and honors for the Cardinals organization, including the great Jack Buck with his microphone out there in left field. Matt Adams is 3 for 3. Take strike 1. It's 0-1. All right, Ben, what do you think about Busch Stadium? The 3rd edition of Busch Stadium. You played in the 2nd edition of Busch Stadium.
I really, really, really like it. With the exception of that scoreboard out there.
You want a new scoreboard.
The orange letters are not doing it for me. It just seems everything in here is so modern, and that just seems antiquated.
Swing and a miss. 1-2. I would agree with you compared to the other boards that we see all around Major League Baseball.
Yeah. But other than that, it very, very nice.
Swing and a miss. Adams is struck out. 1 out. Johnny Peralta's coming up. Well, even as good as the Cardinals have been, Murph, since this ballpark opened, the Phillies have been very good, except for the last couple of years. So they've done pretty well here at Busch Stadium.
Yeah, it certainly is a nice place to come. It's a nice place, as Ben just pointed out, to watch a baseball game. And for the Phils over the last, well, since this place has opened back in 2006, it's been a good place for them to visit as well. You look at their numbers here, 21-17. That's good for a .553 winning percentage here. They outscored the Cardinals by more than 30 runs, or about 30 runs as well. And they've won 6 of the last 10 season series here against the Cardinals. So they've had their share of success at New Busch Stadium.
Speaking of New Busch Stadium, the village outside, the ballpark village outside of Busch Stadium, I thought you were going to go up to the rooftop.
I am going to go up to the rooftop, but I'm not going to do that until Thursday. We're going to wait until the day game.
Oh, okay.
I think that'll showcase it. It's a really cool place for folks in Philadelphia. It's a very similar structure to Xfinity Live, except that it's 2 stories here, and you can see they have seats on top. They can look into the ballpark a la Wrigley Field. So it's a cool little setup. I'm going to be up there on Thursday kind of showing folks. And they also have a great museum, St. Louis Cardinals Museum inside that building as well, which is really neat. It's a very cool place to visit if you're a baseball fan.
Yeah, that is the rooftop. That is the old site for the Busch Stadium that Ben played in. That parking lot area and the village that's out there. This place opened in 2006. There's a high strike, and it's 2-1 to Hayward.
Jake looks completely different this inning.
It's good.
A lot of pitches, though, for him.
Yeah, this will be the 45th pitch. Three balls and 2 strikes to Hayward. Justin DeFreitas hasn't thrown in a few days. Is out in the bullpen. And ball 4. So Hayward walks. Second time he's walked against Diekman. 3rd time overall. And here's Yadier Molina. Hayward has walked 3 times. He came into this ball game with only 2 walks.
Walked 3 times in 4 innings.
They've had a lot of at-bats already tonight. The pitch missed inside. It clicks again for Diekman at some point, because he was a weapon that you don't see every day. 100 strikeouts for a reliever.
A very good year last year, and we saw some hints of that in spring training. He got beat up a little bit in spring training.
Yeah, last year there were times where he had some rough games. He was hurt by his slider a lot of times, but hitters had a tough time picking him up. It doesn't seem like they're having as tough a time picking him up. Like Yadier Molina there, defensive swing. But last year, because of the velocity and because of something in his motion, hitters, right-handers, left-handers, they just couldn't find it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chopper back toward the middle, and Utley will throw over to first. And the inning is over. No runs, no hits, and 1 man left. Diekman has thrown 2 innings. He's allowed 2 runs. On to the 7th inning. Phil's down 9-4. Gonzalez made his major league debut tonight. 7 earned runs, 10 hits, and 2 2/3. Cardinals' first 4 hitters, 9 for 16, 5 RBIs, and 4 runs scored. So the Cardinals lead at 9-4 as we go to the top of the 7th. Randy Choate, who's pitching in only his 8th game, is going to stay in to face Ben Revere, Odubel Herrera, and Chase Utley, 3 straight lefties. Choate has been basically a spectator this year. This is his 8th ball game. He's only pitched an inning and a third. It's remarkable.
Starting tonight, he did have an 18 ERA.
One ball, 1 strike.
He's been around.
Toyota Major League Scoreboard. The Nationals have now taken the lead over the Braves. Dan Uggla has 5 RBIs for the Nats. 13-12. Guy like this, it's got to throw your timing off if you're a hitter, doesn't it?
That's why I switch hit.
So it wouldn't throw your timing off if you were up right-handed?
No. It's right my bat speed zone.
Now at the age of 38, or even back then?
Even back then.
Choate is 39 years old. First pitched in the big leagues in 2000. Over to left side. Tough play for Carpenter, and Ben Revere has his 2nd infield hit of the night. He's going to go to second base. So Ben is 2 for 3. Carpenter makes his 3rd error of the season.
I don't know if getting the screw removed out of his foot, obviously he's feeling better, but he seems faster to me this year. Am I wrong in saying that?
I thought his acceleration once he gets to first is where it's really noticeable, where he can take off.
Even when he let off the ball game, you know, the triples he hit in that last home series, I'm watching him run. I'm thinking, man, he's really moving.
Odubel swing and a miss. It's 0-1. Ben with his 3rd infield hit of the season is at second base. He had 33 infield hits last year.
What a luxury
to have those wheels. Boy, Herrera did everything to try to lay off that pitch, and it was still called a strike.
How does he do it?
Get guys out or stay?
No,
or
that's
Herrera.
swing.
Oh yeah.
Ballerina up there.
Trying to see if you ever faced Randy Choate.
Slipped under the K column.
No, I've gotten down to 2 career plate appearances, and you're not in there yet. Outside. All right, here we go. 1 career plate appearance. David Bell has faced him. Chris Davis has faced him, but Ben Davis has not faced him.
There you go.
And a call, strike 3. 71 miles an hour. Got him looking. 2 strikeouts. And now Chase Utley's the batter.
Well, being that you're a rookie and you said something to the umpire earlier, and I'm sure Corey Blazer's not too happy with that earlier in the game, and I'm not saying he's doing that intentionally. He thought it was a good pitch. You're not going to hold a vendetta against somebody like that, but it definitely does not help.
Utley hits it the other way. Holiday turns his back and reaches up and makes the catch. He is not the best defensive outfielder, but he does do enough with the glove and with the bat. There's a lot of room out there too for him.
Chase hit another ball hard. I just thought there's no way he gets to it, but lumbering out there, he makes a good play. I mean, Chase drove that ball pretty well to left field, and that's a good sign. See that out of Chase.
So now a pinch hitter, Cesar Hernandez, I believe. Nope, it's Andres Blanco. So Blanco will pinch hit for Diekman. DeFreitas will come in to pitch. Cesar was out there, and then they called him back. Well, this will be the first right-handed hitter that Choate will face this year, the switch hitting Andres Blanco. Blanco 0 for 4 as a pinch hitter, as you see. Overall, career 105 hitter as a pinch hitter. And he fights it off down the right field line. That's a fair ball. It'll drop in for a hit. Revere will score. And Blanco's on his way to second, and he'll get there sliding. A pinch hit double. And it's a 9-5 ball game.
Be aggressive.
Why not? You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Manus warming up in the bullpen.
Swing and miss. Who cares? It's 0-1. Well, you always have to be ready in the National League with the double switches, and if a guy comes out early in the ball game, you got to be ready the whole game.
All right, Howard has not solved Randy Choate during his career. 0 for 9 against him. 1 ball, no strikes. Chopper right side. And it's gobbled up by Peralta. Inning is over. Phil's get a run back. They leave one in scoring position. The RBI pinch hit double by Andres Blanco. Time to stretch here in St. Louis with the Cardinals up 9-5. Here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Pulling a doubleheader at the office, look no further than WB Mason's wide selection of Green Mountain Coffee K-Cup pods to keep you running. Order by 11:30 a.m. and get free same-day delivery. Who but WB Mason? Justin DeFreitas in his 9th ball game will take over for Jake Diekman. And he will face Colton Wong, the pitcher's spot, and then the top of the order for the Cardinals. Outside with a changeup, and it's 1 ball and no strikes. Two balls and no strikes. Cardinals come into this ball game with a 12-6 record, game ahead of the Chicago Cubs in the Central. Cubs are winning again. They are leading the Pirates 6-2. That game's in the 8th inning. Folks around here, they love that rivalry between the Cardinals and the Cubs, and the fact that the two could be battling for the top spot should make that rivalry even a little more interesting. Outside, 3-1.
We know what the Cardinals have. We haven't seen the Cubbies yet, but now with Joe Madden there, I mean, he's such a good manager, and he got some good-looking young players coming up and performing well. Starting Castro is playing very well at shortstop for them.
That one's popped up, foul territory. Ruiz and Ashe, and Ashe calls it. And there's the first out here in the 7th inning. All right, time now for our Hyundai Defensive Play of the Game, brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. I mentioned that Ben Revere's got a much better arm this year.
There's some lack of communication out there in left field, but he comes up, keeps his composure, throws a strike to home plate to get Hayward and prevent a run.
It's our Hyundai Defensive Play of the Game, second outfield assist of the season for Revere, who leads the league in putouts. Cody Stanley takes a pitch inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Fouls it off the foot. It's 1-2. It has gone final. Nationals have hung on and come from behind to defeat the Atlanta Braves 13-12.
Can't believe the amount of hits in that game.
I guess that was a blown save for Jason Grilli.
Is it in Atlanta?
It was in Atlanta. Bit outside, and now 2-2. Staying alive, it remains 3-2. A few changeups being thrown by DeFreitas in this outing.
Emergency hack there.
Chase Utley will take that ball on the hop and throw out Stanley for the second out. 2 outs. Top of the order. John Jay coming up. Top of the 3rd inning. The Dodgers and the Giants. Giants lead at 1-0. Bumgarner and Kershaw facing off for the second time this year. Out at Dodger Stadium, where I'm sure the sun is causing some issues for the hitters at this point with those 2 left-handers out on the mound.
I'd pay to see that one.
Last night the Mets and the Marlins played an hour and 58-minute game. Those 2 guys pitching, that game could be over before this one's over.
Surprised there's already a run on the board.
Jay serves it toward left field, and Revere makes the catch. Oh, and he hurtled over the ball, dude. Raise your hand if you could do that. Not many can. He may wind up on David Letterman with something like that. Oh, man, that guy was shocked to watch this. The catch by Revere, and then woohoo! Over the top. Well, Ben is an athlete. He had some ups on that. We go to the 8th. 9-5 Cardinals on top of the Phils. By WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And buy your Delaware Valley Honda dealers. Hurry to your local Del Val Honda dealer or visit DelValHondaDealers.com today. Top of the 8th inning, the Cardinals on top of the Phillies 9-5. Now the Phillies will send Cody Ashley to the plate against Mitch Harris, appearing in his 3rd game. This is one of the best stories in all of baseball right here. This right-hander, Mitch Harris, made his major league debut last Saturday with an inning and a 3rd scoreless. He is a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. As Ashley hits it foul down the left field line. 29 years old. He is believed to be the first U.S. Navy graduate to appear in the majors since Nemo Gaines did it in 1921 for the Washington Senators. He served his duty after graduating from the Naval Academy. Ball's hit well out to center field. John Jay sprinting back and makes the catch. Over the shoulder, 1 out.
Cody drove that ball to center field. John Jay, he is so good going back and catching balls over his shoulder. Kind of like what Jim Edmonds used to do.
Yeah, you could
Very
tell,
good.
You could tell about 15 feet away from the ball that he had it lined up. So 1 out. Carlos Ruiz is coming up.
He hit it where it's pitched. Unfortunately, that was the deepest part of the ballpark.
Fastball upstairs. Harris Ben was a graduate of the Naval Academy in 2008. He served 4 years and 8 days as a Marine. 1 ball and no strikes to Ruiz.
I'd like to publicly thank him for his service.
It's an unbelievable story.
It's awesome.
Fly ball to right. So to keep fresh and to keep, he was drafted by the Braves after his junior year. Decided not to go, wanted to finish off his obligation. And then was drafted by the Cardinals. And the Cardinals checked in on him from time to time, and he checked in with them. He would play on travel teams, in the Navy, in the Marines, over the course of time. But they would only play a few games every once in a while. So to make sure that he kept his arm fresh, he would throw on the decks of the aircraft carriers that he was on. And then when he was on a smaller carrier, which did happen a couple of times, he couldn't really throw a baseball, so he would throw a football anytime he could. He would make sure that his arm stayed strong and stayed fresh by throwing that football.
That's great.
A 1 pitch to Galvis. When he finished up his obligation, that is when he finally came to spring training with the Cardinals. And here he is now. Freddie Galvis pulls it through the hole on the right side. It's his 3rd hit of the night. So a 2-out single, and Grady Sizemore's coming up.
The best part about this whole thing with Freddie Galvis is a lot of these hits that he's getting are with 2 strikes. He has shortened his swing, but it seems like even with 2 strikes, he's shortening that much more. Being selective, not fishing for balls in the dirt. That was a tough pitch right there.
Yeah, I would think his new style of hitting benefits him with a 2-strike approach. Fly ball to deep left center field. Holiday out into the alleyway, runs it down. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. On to the bottom of the 8th inning. Cardinals holding on to a 9-5 lead. Represent the history of the Phillies and who are the 4 greatest living Major League Baseball players. Go to MLB.com/franchise4 to cast your ballots. Winners will be revealed during the All-Star Game July 14th on Fox. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Matt Carpenter will face Justin DeFreitas. How about Carpenter? 16 extra base hits, 14 singles this year. So he has more extra base hits than singles. That's some productivity right there.
12 doubles is alarming. I mean, April ended, will you be on pace for 72, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, fortunately, we don't have to see him twice a year. Maybe in the postseason. 2-0 pitch. Outside corner, 2-1.
In 2013, he had 55 doubles. It's a St. Louis record.
I would think that you'd have to like everything about his approach, right? His stance, where his hands are, everything.
There's no wasted motion. He's a guy that doesn't mind getting jammed. I've seen him break many bats, but he lets the ball travel. He will hit it where it's pitched. And as I said last night, you leave a cookie up there, he'll get you.
Well, let's face it, he's not that big of a guy either. He's tall.
I remember talking to John Olerud about when he won his batting title back in '93. That year he had 54 doubles. 54. And he said, you know what, Big Ben? It just seemed like every game I was getting at least one double. Now, he beat that by one. You know, he's on pace. 72 doubles would be ridiculous, but.
Ball 4. Draws a leadoff walk. Matt Holliday's coming up. Time for the Major League Notebook. Murph, take it away.
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. Well, Yanks right-hander Masahiro Tanaka is headed to the shelf. The Yanks ace is experiencing some tenderness in his elbow and some tendonitis in his wrist. He had an MRI today. There is a slight strain in that elbow, so their general manager, Brian Cashman, said that he could miss upwards to a month of time. So he is headed to the 15-day disabled list. And of course, for the second straight night in Baltimore, games have been canceled at Camden Yards. The game between the O's and the White Sox supposed to be held tonight. That game has been postponed. It's going to be made up as a doubleheader later in May. Now, tomorrow's game is going to be played at Camden Yards. However, it'll be a 2:05 start, and no fans will be allowed inside the ballpark. They'll play in front of an empty ballpark tomorrow in Baltimore. Then they were supposed to have a weekend series with the Rays at Camden Yards. Instead, those games are being moved to Tampa, where Baltimore will be the home team, but they'll play those games down in Tampa. So still a very serious situation in Baltimore, and Major League Baseball being extra cautious with the games there, guys.
Yeah, things calmed down to a certain extent today, but now they've heated up again. If you've seen any of the reports tonight coming out of Baltimore, Major League Baseball and the NFL, because the Ravens were scheduled to have a draft party at their stadium just next to Camden Yards. They've canceled that. But Major League Baseball, the National Football League, obviously making sure that the safety of the fans and the players and everybody else is at the forefront. Did you ever play a game with nobody in the stands?
No.
I mean, minor league games you play sometimes with very little people.
Closest would be playing against the Expos up in Montreal. I mean,
draw big crowds in Malvern Prep.
Depends on how many we could fit on that hill.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Holiday.
It's a shame what's going on down there. It's a mess.
And Holiday lines another base hit. That one hop off Sizemore. Carpenter will keep on going to third. There have been very few times in Matt Holliday's career when the Phillies have run into him when he has been this hot. I cannot remember him being this hot.
He just hits the ball so hard. He really does. I mean, this ball is blistered out to right field. Ball it's elevated.
Well, he'll leave. Pinch runner Peter Borges comes on to pinch run for him.
You know, it's weird about him is he has a very quick leg kick. It's a big leg kick, but it's quick. Other guys like Gonzalez out in L.A., and these guys have long, drawn-out leg kicks.
Gorgeous runs on that pitch, and he'll get a stolen base out of it.
Nothing Chooch could do there.
Mike Matheny wants to add to this 4-run lead. Game of baseball, this is, I mean, even though the Phillies have just one more at bat, you don't want to take any chances. You're going to try to pile on a little bit here. Phillies have rearranged their defense. The infield is in. Ashe moves from third base over to the right side of the diamond. They're going to try to cut this run off.
Freddie's got a lot of ground to cover over there.
He does.
Oh, the people at home may say, you know, why steal there? Well, basically, you don't want a grand slam to be able to come back and tie the ball game.
Fly ball left field. Carpenter will tag. Revere comes running in, makes the catch. The throw goes toward the plate. Fortunately, the runner at second did not advance to third. Another sacrifice fly.
Another leadoff walk.
That's 3 sac flies in this ball game for the Cardinals. 10-5, St. Louis on top. Now towards shortstop, off the glove of Galvis. That may be the second error of the inning for the Phils. And now Hayward's coming up again. That would be Freddie's third error of the season, although they haven't put the scored decision up just yet.
Peralta keeps looking up there too.
I was looking at him. Yeah, he is peaking. He's got
nature.
He's got a 7-game hitting streak, so he's hoping to make it 8 straight.
I don't think he's going to get it.
No, he looked at it and saw it, and his shoulders kind of dropped when they put the error up on the board. Hayward fouls it off his foot. 0-1. Man, what a night for the Cardinals with runners in scoring position. 7 for 12 with runners in scoring position tonight. It's the same team that struck out 13 times last night. Freitas will get one by running across the first base bag. One unassisted. Runners on second and third. And Yadier Molina. Ryan Sandberg is going to come out. That's going to be it for DeFreitas, I believe. Jenmar Gomez has been warming up in the bullpen. And there's the signal to the pen. So a pitching change with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 1 run has crossed the plate for the Cardinals. We'll be back after this. MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, is celebrating 13 years. Watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. 10-5 Cardinals, 2 outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Yadier Molina is due up, and Genmar Gomez will be the new pitcher for the Phils. 8th ball game for Gomez. 10 hits in 7 2/3 so far. Molina has grounded out twice, flied out once. It was a sac fly, got an RBI. And he walked, and he lines this one in the center field at base hit. 1 run is in, rounding third, and holding there is Peralta. 11-5, Cardinals on top. Another hit with a runner in scoring position for the Cardinals. Now this is just one of those nights.
It's tough, though, for Justin DeFreitas because, you know, obviously Gomez wants to come in and pick his teammate up, but that's his runner out there. You wonder, you know, you want to get Gomez in there, get him in the game, but you'd like to see Justin maybe want to battle out of that. He's going to give it up. Maybe let him be the one to do it.
His defense committed 2 errors behind him. One was a tough one out of Grady Sizemore that hit off his body. The other one on Freddie Galvis. 0-1 pitch to Wong. Low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, which happened once tonight, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, the official entertainment provider of the Philadelphia Phillies. Carlos Villanueva warming up in the bullpen. Nice play by Gomez, high in the air to throw out Wong. And the inning is over. 1-3 on the put-out, but 2-run score for the Cards. They add to their lead. We'll take an 11-5 lead into the 9th inning. Hits, and Matt Carpenter's been all over the scoring for the Cards.
Yeah, right field, left field. He has done a phenomenal job and just continuing to be Matt Carpenter. The guy is a professional hitter.
Yeah, those are W.B. Mason deliveries of the game. That was his triple, and that was his double. So now we go to the top of the 9th inning. Some defensive changes for the Cardinals. In center field, Borges came on to pinch run for Matt Holliday, so he'll take over in center. Moving from center to left is John Jay. And taking over at shortstop is Peter Kozma. Carlos Villanueva is the new pitcher. This is his 4th ball game. The veteran right-hander. He's been a reliever and a starter during his major league career. So far in those 3 games, he has an earned run average of 1.93. A couple of guys have had decent nights for the Phils offensively, and one of them is Ben Revere, who has 2 hits and has also walked. Boy, is he getting his hands through quicker or what?
Yeah, he looks like it's starting to click a little bit more. He's got that average up to 219. Really struggling early on in the season, first part of the month.
Fouls it off over toward the Cardinals dugout. It is pretty interesting, though, how there are some guys that just are slow starters.
Yeah.
And it's every year. I mean, Ben's one of those guys. You know, you think about what he does in the month of April. He's a lifetime 235 hitter, and then after that, he's just shy of a 300 hitter. Way out front of an off-speed pitch, which is Villanueva's out pitch. There's one away. Coming up after the ball game, Ricky Pitalico will break down Severino Gonzalez's major league debut and everything that happened in Game 2 of this series between the Phils and the Cardinals. Only on Cure Auto Insurance presents Phillies Postgame Live. Here is Odubel Herrera, 1 for 3. Don't forget, tomorrow we'll be back again, 8 o'clock. Aaron Harang will get the start for the Phillies. Carlos Martinez the start for the Cardinals. John Jay, plenty of time to get to this one. 2 outs. First pitch is scheduled for 8:15.
Any big plans tomorrow, Tom, before the game?
Tomorrow, I'm going to play golf.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah. Chase Utley's the hitter. Outside, 1-0. First time since being down in spring training playing a little golf. Utley is 1 for 4. A couple RBIs. Out of play.
Wow,
that's shocking, isn't it? I remember that when he was with the Brewers, how he always handled Chase. And he may handle him here. Ball backhanded by Wong, throws over to first, and the Cardinals have taken Game 2 by a final score of 11-5 over the Phillies. Cardinals offense had been struggling over the last couple of games, really all season for the exception of a couple of guys, but these last couple of games they've really been struggling. Not today, particularly with runners in scoring position. Matt Adams 3 for 4, a double, 2 RBIs, a run scored. He had 3 strikeouts in yesterday's game, so a totally different ball game for him and the St. Louis Cardinals. So Game 2 is in the books. Cardinals win it 11-5. We'll be back to St. Louis to wrap things up right after this.